Hi, YouTube, it's Alyssa from Book Neutral, and I'm here for book review. I just finished City of Glass by Cassandra Clare, and I'm smiling cheek to cheek. I just loved this book. I actually finished it 30 minutes ago, and I had to put the review up fast because I know you guys want to see it, even though people already read this book. Some people haven't. But I'm gonna make these, when I read these books, I'm making them now spoilers, so if you haven't read them, please do not watch them. Half of this video is going to be non-spoiler, and then the rest of it is going to be spoiler, because there's so much I want to talk about. You see this now? There's so much I want to talk about. There's definitely so much I want to talk about, because a lot of things just freaking went on, and it's just so intense. It was just like, I literally took me 5 days to read this book, and I really enjoyed it. I really just couldn't stop smiling every time I read it. I was like giddy, or I was like mad, or I was like, this book gave me so many emotions that I couldn't even like speak. So let's get on to the plot. It's been a couple of months since the last book, and Clary has to find the cure, the antidote to bring her mom away from the sleep. So she has to go to the home of the Shadowhunter Land artist, and you can't go into the home of Shadowhunter Land unless you're invited by the Clave, and she wasn't. And she ends up going there. She develops new powers. And then we get to, there's a big war going to be going on between the Shadowhunters and the demons, and they have to try to get the Shadowhunters and Downworlders to form an alliance together. And they don't know if it's gonna. Claire doesn't know if it's gonna work. And then Simon also gets into the prison of the guard, and there's just a lot of things going on. So let's get on to my favorite parts of the book. Oh my god, I loved this book. I really enjoyed it. I felt the beginning was just amazing, and then from the middle to the end, I was just like, this is fantastic. It was just like, from beginning to middle to end, you know this is like a fantastic book, and I really loved it. Okay, now let's get on to, when you first read it, you knew it was intense. Even though like some parts are like just bailing on, you knew something was gonna happen. It's just like, okay, now let's get on to my favorite parts of the book. Okay, so the top of my list in this is when Alec, they're in the court hall, and they're all binding each other with the binding rune that Clary invented, and Alec wants to be with Magnus. All you people know why, because they're in a relationship. He doesn't tell anybody yet, so he goes up to Magnus, and it's in science perspective, so you see them looking, and all you just see is Alec kissing Magnus. I was just like, oh my god, that's like the top, that's like the freaking number one thing on my list, was when they kissed. I was just like, oh my god, finally he shows his parents his true love and who he really is. And I was just like, yes, Alec, finally. I was like, yes. I was just like, finally, Alec and Magnus. I think that they're the cutest couple in the whole freaking book, because I love Magnus. I think Alec's an awesome character, and I just love them. Okay, so I keep doing that to my nose. I have like a little cold. But also, the second thing on my list was finding out Clary and Jace were not brother and sister. Like, you have that feeling like they're not brother and sister. Like, you had that feeling, but then like they are brother and sister. And then like you finally find out in the book when you hear it, when she tells about when Jocelyn, her mother, tells her the story of her loving Valentine and all that stuff, and you find out that so that's like the number 2 of my most favorite things. And I loved it because it's like, finally they get to do all that boyfriend and girly stuff. Like towards the end, that's what they were doing. They were like kissing, holding hands, leaning on each other. It's like, finally. I love the ending, but the ending was amazing. Even the ending of the epilogue, I really loved. I really loved. I also enjoyed how the scene with before the battle, it was the fight with when Sebastian burned the ward, the demon towers, and he needs demon blood, and he's half demon because of what Valentine did. And I really, really liked that scene because everything is going around to figure out the accords and what the people want. That scene was intense. That scene was really intense. It was more intense than the battle actually going on, and it was more intense than anything. And then it slows down. That's what I like about Cassandra Clare's writing. Like, she'll make something so intense, and then it'll slowly slow down, but then become intense again. It's like a roller coaster. Like, you go up, it's intense. You go slowly down, up again, more tenseness. And that's what I loved about this middle of the book. Then Clary going to, then I really like the scene where Jace and Clary went to the Wayland Manor to get the Book of White for Magnus so he can get the antidote. And they find the angel that Valentine is keeping. And it's like the first angel except for Angel Raziel. And I thought that was like, what the hell did Valentine do? And just to say, it was,
I'll be back in a little bit, okay? Walk her over, I'm going to the gym.
it was really, 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 really good. I really like, and like he's showing Jace and Clary all these things that Valentine did with his son turning him half demon, and at the time Jace thought it was himself, and in the end it wasn't. Okay, then let's get on to when Simon was in the arrested in the guard. He talked to this guy, the cellmate, who he thought was Samuel. It wasn't. It was Hodge. And I felt like, what? But Hodge, I never liked him. I mean, I felt bad for his death, but I was like, and he was trying to tell the truth to them that really. And then we had some portrayal in it, like the head of the councilman, Malachi, I think that's how you pronounce his name, portrayed his whole city, like he always was with Valentine. That's why he didn't want to, I guess that's why he didn't want to go into battle with him, because if he just surrendered, because he was the councilman, that people would agree with him. And then the binding rune, I love the binding rune, how it binds this, and they get their power. Oh, Simon. Simon. I think he got much better in this book. In the first two books, I felt he was annoying. I felt he was really annoying. I felt he wouldn't. I know he's best friends with Clary, but like, just leave her alone. She's strong enough in her own bones, and she doesn't need you everywhere. But in this book, he really did a lot for Clary. He really did a lot for Jace and the Lightwoods. He really wants to protect people, and he really wants to show people that even though he's a vampire, even though he's undead, he really wants to live his life like a normal person. And I really enjoyed that.
Instead of looking at us glowing, and then we see, oh, look at that angle, look at that angle.
I was like, Simon, I love you now. That was my favorite character now. Like, oh, love you. And then Sebastian. Oh, I don't like Sebastian, but like Sebastian from the beginning. Just the way he was, just the way he acted, just the way he pushed himself on people. That's how he was. He pushed himself on people. And the kiss with him and Clary, I was like, why'd you kiss her? Like, why'd you kiss her? It's just and then, I also really the scene with the angel and coming out. Valentine's finally dead. Hooray, hooray! Sparkles everywhere. But loved that scene with the angel and him and her telling Clary his power and her finally killing him.
I'm very emotional.
And then,
Exceptional work.
what was this? We had some deaths. Max, we didn't even get to know much of his character, and he died. And I was just like, oh, I feel so bad, because like he was part of the Lightwoods, and the Lightwoods loved him. He was only 9 years old. He was a young person, and towards that part, I want to jump into that book and take Simon by his freaking neck and do something to him, because I felt like you don't do that to a 9-year-old. How cruel and sick are you? And I was like, he had demon blood in him, so it's gonna be sick and cruel. And everyone felt so bad and cheery. And Clary really loved Max because he was a big manga and reader, and she wanted to take him to Forbidden Planet, which actually is a place in New York. I've been there. It's awesome. And I felt like, so bad. he just like,
And so I find this photograph quite interesting.
I didn't, in the beginning, Jace kind of made me mad because he was saying all these things to Claire, being really mean, but in the end, he was protecting her, and he just wanted to protect her with all his might. And then in the end, Claire pretty much was the one who killed Valentine. And but I don't want to say, I know I said a lot, but it's just like so much to talk about. Like, I keep thinking about this book, even when I was like 30 minutes done with it. I was just like, what am I gonna do now? I keep thinking about this book. I want to go into all the other. I want to finish Divergent. I'm like, I can't. I have this. My mind is still set on this book. How can I go to Divergent when my mind's still set on this book? But it's just like, that's why I like Cassandra Clare. She's one of the few authors who really know how to write a good story and really know how to write the tale really well. I love the whole homeland of the Shadowhunters. I love it because it feels like this is like she created a new race of people, and that's what I really like, because in all of vampire books you only hear different things, but you never heard of Shadowhunters before. And I felt like amazing. I love the whole idea she created of the Shadowhunters and then protecting and then being like having angel blood in them. I thought that was really creative, and I felt like I love this whole world, Iris and Alicante, which is the city, and the Accords, all these freaking places, the Guard. I pictured them like really pretty, and I was like, this is just an amazing book. I can't wait to read City of Fallen Angels. Right now, I'm gonna get into Divergent, probably finish it. It's not that hard to read. I've seen the print. It's like really like 5th grade print, but I'm probably finish that because everyone says good book. Then I'm going on to Plague, and then I'm going into City of Fallen Angels, and then I have Insurgent, and then yeah. So I hope I get to the bookstore to buy it because I want it in book form. I want to finish the whole trilogy in book form. But I give City of Glass 5 out of 5 stars. If I can give it more, I would give it a 10. But it's 5 out of 5 stars. I recommend it a 10. Go buy the freaking series. If you haven't read it, go buy it. I'm trying to get my aunts into the series, so go buy it. See, look, I smell on your teeth. That's how much you're gonna like this freaking book. Now, bye. I can't say it in French, au revoir, but whatever. See you later.